Wrestling with the Devil, a review. On August 13th, 2013, Lex Luger published his first book titled Wrestling with the Devil, the true story of a world champion professional wrestler, his reign, ruin, and redemption. It features a foreword written by fellow wrestler Steve Sting Borden. The book tells the story of Lex's life, from his childhood, helping his parents in their music shop, his relationship with his siblings, and even the story of how his parents met. Lex Luger regales us with tales from his early life. He then moves on, talks about attending school, high school, and then college. Luger attended high school and played football in Orchard Park, New York. He then attended Pennsylvania State University on a football scholarship, but transferred to the University of Miami after his freshman year, when the Penn State coaches thought that he should move to linebacker or defensive end. The story swiftly moves into telling of these days as a college football player and his experiences living away from home and in a collegial atmosphere, both on and off the football field. Lex Luger would end up playing in the Canadian Football League for NFL's Green Bay Packers and in the United States Football League for the Memphis Showboats before injury ended his career. He would spend time working in clubs and gyms before being trained in professional wrestling by the late and legendary Hiro Matsuda. Lex would begin wrestling in the NWA Florida territory in 1985 before moving to World Championship Wrestling in 1987. Tales of the wrestling life, from the infamous training given by Matsuda, travelling the Florida schedule, beginning life as a four horseman in WCW, to becoming WCW World Heavyweight Champion, fill this portion of the book. The story continues with the life he led during these years, his thoughts on the company and eventual departure to join Vince McMahon's World Bodybuilding Federation. This would never come to pass, as he recalls the serious motorbike crash which would end this opportunity. Although he does mention his injuries, he doesn't mention that due to his steel plate he would gain another signature maneuver in his career, his forearm smash. By 1993 his recovery would be complete enough to join the World Wrestling Federation as the Narcissist. Bobby the Brain Heenan unveiled him with the persona of Narcissus at the Royal Rumble 1993. Shortly thereafter, his name was altered slightly to the Narcissist. Luger posed before full-length mirrors before every match. The Narcissist's one major feud was with Mr. Perfect. The feud was based on Heenan, his advisor, referring him to be beyond perfection in a slight at Mr. Perfect, his former managerial client. The rivalry ended at WrestleMania 9 when Luger defeated Perfect. In mid-1993, after Hulk Hogan's departure from the company, Luger was transformed from a heel to a babyface or good guy with the nicknames Made in USA and the All-American. On July 4th, he took part in a memorable event where he arrived by helicopter onto the deck of the USS Intrepid and body slammed the near 600-pound then WWF champion Yokozuna, after a number of other athletes, both inside the WWF and out, attempted and failed. He pays his respects to the late Rodney Annaway, telling of how they worked together, both in practicing and pulling off the body slam. Following this, he began the Lex Express tour, travelling the country in a red, white and blue painted bus to greet fans and to campaign for a shot at the WWF title, thus beginning a feud with the then champion Yokozuna. Lex recounts stories of his days with the World Wrestling Federation, having matches with the various superstars and becoming friends with Bret Hitman Hart, who would introduce him to a continuing vice, Starbucks coffee. After spending a few years in the WWE, he would return to WCW at the start of the Monday Night Wars, becoming an integral part of the success of the company and eventually a part of the NWO Red and Black Wolfpack. After WCW was bought in 2001, he stepped away from wrestling for a while, but unfortunately this is where his troubles really began. Legal troubles that really started when he was arrested on suspicion of domestic assault on Miss Elizabeth Hewlett, who later sadly died, and they continued when she did. This section is surprisingly both open and honest, saddening and concerning to its readers. Lex would, over the next several years, spend time in jail for various offences, including violations of parole when he attempts to appear at a show in Canada. The latter stages of the book recount how Lawrence Fole, his real name, became a born-again Christian after meeting and becoming friends with Pastor Steve Baskin. Steve Baskin was the chaplain at the jail that Lex was serving a sentence at. Some people may feel this, and perhaps the rest of the book, is a little on the preachy side, as the realization of the life he had and the man he was occurs. It is, however, a gradual realization and conversion to Christianity, as he abandons the life of pills, drinks, and other vices he has gained throughout his lifetime. On October 19, 2007, Luger suffered a spinal stroke. He underwent intravenous antibiotic treatment and was expected to make a full recovery. His recovery, which is still ongoing even today, is where the book rounds off. Thankfully, he is making a good recovery, even being able to drive an amazing 4 hours by himself to go see former rival and now good friend Nikita Koloff. This book is quite open and honest account of his life and times. Perhaps because of his status as a born-again Christian, and of course to protect his family, not every sordid detail of his indiscretions are opened up to public scrutiny. It is highly concerning to hear about the types of behaviour that never mind a well-known celebrity figure like Lex Luger, but anyone would get up to. Lawrence Fole is, or at least certainly was, from the impression the book gives, a stereotypical jock, or athletically minded alpha male. This is shown through his tales of his behaviour: stealing as a kid, wrecking rooms, overturning cars, and, as I said, his use of women and drugs throughout his life. This story is intended, and certainly is in my opinion, a warning story to many people. If Lex had carried down the path he was on, I am certain he would be one of the wrestlers that would have been lost early. This book is a fascinating read, although I listened to the unabridged 6-hour audiobook version that captures the life and career of one of the most famous and accomplished wrestlers in recent years. I would hope that Wrestling with the Devil, the true story of a world champion professional wrestler, his reign, ruin and redemption, is to its readers a story of hope. A story that someone can change before it's too late. I would certainly recommend this book to fans of professional wrestling, especially those fans of the 90s and mostly 80s era. Lex Luger played a huge part in those times and was one of its biggest stars. I enjoyed this behind the scenes look, and am glad that Wrestling with the Devil is one match where Lex is making a big comeback in.